To kick off the project, we worked very closely with the inline team here at New Balance, and they gave us a very specific objective. They said we need to create a shoe that is going to cut harder than anything else that's on the marketplace right now.
So some of the original research we did looking at athletes cutting in multiple directions, we took that information really as a starting point. So this is an example of a visual that we have to understand the data, really the traction requirements that these athletes have. And what you can see, this is an example of a hard 60-degree cut. We can get an idea of what traction requirements are needed at the heel early in this cut. And as we progress forward in time, as you get later into the cut, what zones of your foot you're using to propel yourself or accelerate. And this is pivotal in terms of designing your cleat and stud shape, as well as where we put those studs.
In going through the data, we really noticed that the really far edge of the cleat was really critical for these extreme movements. And in a typical cleat, there's not really cleats in that area. So that's why this became a really big focus area for us, to not only reinforce that, but to have these cleats at the extreme angles that would allow them to push up harder.
So when designing the upper, we've taken into consideration that the new angled stud placement was allowing athletes to cut harder and actually reach higher level angled cuts. So we wanted to design the upper to actually keep your foot locked in while making these more dramatic cuts. So that's where the combination of the custom woven, the Lamitech, and the new supportive ankle construction really were designed to lock you in and keep you from sliding, which helps you push off on that cut.
So pretty early on, we started working with some of the pro guys that we sponsor, and they were a great starting point for us to give us feedback.
We've had it on about 15 guys to this point in Major League Lacrosse through this season. Guys like Rob Pennell, Kieran McCardle, Brendan Fowler, Tom Schreiber, Scotty Rogers, Matt Bocklett. We've been testing these cleats on field with our top Division I collegiate programs. So we've been getting real-time information, real-time feedback.
So one of the things that we looked into when we were bringing this out to athletes, having them test, they were extremely impressed at how hard they could cut in this shoe and how much traction they had. And it's interesting because as you come down and you land on the ground here and these engage, you get that early bite, but as you roll down and flatten that shoe out, they actually come and hover over the ground, so it actually has the same amount of rotational traction as previous cleats. So those two findings were really exciting to us. We felt like we hit the nail on the head and were able to provide athletes that additional traction that they needed in certain movements, but maintain what they were normally used to in those other directions.
The first impression that we had was we had a couple college guys, I think, wearing it on an indoor setting, and we blindfolded them and we went through a couple different test shoes, try this one on, try that one on, go do some cuts and tell us what you're feeling, the difference between these types of shoes. I think we may have gotten an "oh my God" from one of those guys. It was that immediate reaction once they put it on and they went to do their first cut, that immediate sense of this is something different, this is something I've never worn before.
There's probably 50 rounds of product testing between plate and upper and making sure we get the right combination that's right for the athlete, that ends up getting you to our final product that you see here today.
You can get your pair at newbalance.com/lacrosse.